Right here, this is the high quality studio desk here. It also doubles as my son's toy box.
It's got nice little hearts.
It does.
Greetings, citizens of the internet!
Eventually, in the studio space, there will be video. So that's what the lighting package is for and everything. So yeah, eventually in the studio there will be lots of video. It'll be good. But yeah, so I guess a brief introduction. Your name is Paul.
Yeah.
I lived next to Paul for 3 years back in the old place.
3 or 4 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
In the old place.
Yeah.
It was
So
a while.
he was just a really cool guy. I enjoyed having conversations with him about politics, since he works for a political advocacy group. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm a customer service person.
Oh, okay.
But it's a tech company where we have software that connects people to their elected officials. So when, let's say, the Ohio chamber or something like that wants to run an advocacy campaign to get their members to fight against HB 57, which is the worst bill ever in that legislature, they can run a campaign and say, hey, HB 57 is the worst thing ever, and we want people to take action, send a message. So they send an email out to their supporters that includes a link, and they click to go to a page on their website where our content is, that they enter in their address, and we match them to their correct elected official, and they can have a pre-written message sent off to the elected officials and things like that. So, yeah.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, there's no way to do a 2-second explanation.
No,
of
it's
that.
fine. It's fine. I understand.
Like, I'm a teacher. There's no corollary.
No, it's
to
fine.
this.
I totally get it. But the reason I guess I wanted you on is you always seem to be, of everyone that I knew, you seem to be more knowledgeable as far as what's going on politically. And so, what are your thoughts for our current presidential candidates?
I don't know, and I certainly wouldn't purport to be more knowledgeable than I am.
I'm not saying you're
but-
a genius. I'm not putting you out there, and
Yeah.
I don't want you to get in trouble for anything you release. I know how touchy this stupid state can be.
Yeah, no. I don't think there's. For the company that I work for, we are not really partisan. We have clients that are, left leaning, right leaning, libertarian, authoritarian, kind of across the spectrum.
Authoritarian.
So yeah, Donald Trumpitarian.
Got it.
So we got clients, kind of across the spectrum. We're with people all over the board. So I don't think it really matters in that regard. But no, I think
that, and I don't think any of your customers are going to be listening to me. No.
I don't know.
Come on!
Maybe.
I had a guy on talking
Maybe,
for 2 hours about hallucinogenics and how they.
Someone might match my voice. We recently did training videos.
Really?
So yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
matched, like, oh, it's that guy. But no, I think it's at least way more interesting this year than it was back in 2012.
It is very interesting, isn't it?
It was 2012 was one of the most boring presidential campaigns we've gone through in a while. It even had Herman Cain, the pizza guy, and was his 777 tax plan or whatever he had. I'm messing it up, but
I don't know. I don't know about that. I probably knew about it at the time, but there's just so much to keep in my head that it's impossible for much to
the Republicans had a really large hill to climb in the last election cycle, I think.
Well, what do you think about the as my good buddy Jess put it, the clown car Republican Holocaust primary? It looks like
Well, I think you could say similar things about the Democrat primary with some
I
of the
agree.
things that are going on, but
I agree.
no, I don't know. I think there's definitely a national trend right now of people being pissed off at not government. I think being pissed off at their elected leaders, and with maybe a combination of government as well. People being angry that whatever their perception is of the right things that need to be done are not being done from the most right side for maybe Donald Trump supporters. That would be that we are just taking way too many immigrants, and the country is way too multicultural, and we would like to keep everyone in little kind of boxes and wall things off with giant walls and
It's
that side of
it's
things.
the Trump wall. The Trump wall.
The Trump wall.
They're going to build it, and then we're
The
going to
logo
out.
is going to be in gold.
Yep, that's it. And it's going to light up at night. Of course, it's going to glow on their side, just so it advertises.
Gold-plated wire fencing.
Of course,
on the
it's
top.
the only way to do it.
It's gonna be gorgeous. I can't do a Donald Trump. Huge. I can't do a Donald Trump impression.
Well, at least you don't have his really bad hair.
Yeah. I don't have any hair. But from the left, I think there's a lot of the Bernie Sanders supporters. They are pissed off that Obamacare didn't go far enough. That it wasn't he wasn't able to get a single payer system through. They're angry about the income inequality in the country and things of that nature. So I think there's a lot of pissed off on both sides. But it's the middle is where it's always fun at, and where it's usually decided at. So we'll see. It's looking more and more like Donald Trump is going to become the Republican nominee, much to the chagrin of every single political reporter.
Do you think he's electable?
I would say I think he actually is electable.
Really?
I think that a lot of the media, there was a kind of a narrative when he first announced, because his announcement was just kind of this rambling, kind of psychotic, speech that he gave, I believe in one of his hotels. I don't remember exactly, but so there was a media narrative of there's no way. This is just such a joke.
You think he has a writer? I don't think he has.
There's no way this guy could possibly be elected. And they're also thinking about like Herman Cain, that type candidate from the last election, where there was a time period where he got really popular. He was number one in the polls for a little bit, but that dipped out as well. So everyone's expecting to see the same thing happen with Donald Trump. But it hasn't happened yet. He's continually going up. And there's a couple of things that I find interesting about that. I think that a lot of Democrats and liberals were really upset over the Citizens United decision by the Supreme Court that allowed unlimited money in super PACs and whatnot. But what's hilarious about Donald Trump is that he's spent almost no money on advertisements at all. Yeah. Almost zip. I think he's just now starting to actually funnel some of his money into the campaigns, because up until now he's a free media. He just says outlandish shit.
That's true, and they just cover him.
And he just gets covered. So he didn't have to spend almost any money. Just used the media who hates him so much, which is kind of funny.
Just say some ridiculous things and they'll put you on the news.
Yeah. No, I think that Donald Trump is actually more electable than some people give him credit for.
So do you think he's just like saying crazy shit just to get coverage, or do you think he has do you think he is would be capable as a president?
I am not sure if he would be capable.
I was about to say, do you think we'd go to war?
I think that in our founding and the way the country is set up, even now with the amount of executive power as it's increased over the past 50 years or so, I think it's very difficult for any one single president to completely screw things up one way or the other.
That is a
really
problem
hard.
I seem to have trouble conveying to people, is when they'll blame our Obama for all this shitty stuff. Is like, well, you're aware he's not a dictator. He doesn't have that power.
Yeah. Although it was funny, I don't know if you saw the Daily Show sketch comparing Donald Trump to various African dictators.
No,
that's really great.
I should probably check that out. Well, you see,
it's one of Trevor Noah's first.
Yeah, so Trevor Noah, he got busted as stealing people's jokes, and that disappointed me.
Oh, did he? I didn't remember.
And
that.
so I stopped watching him after that.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he got busted for stealing some people's jokes on. I don't think he used any of them in like his Daily Show stuff. It was some stand-up he was doing.
Yeah,
and he got busted for that.
That's unfortunate. I didn't see that.
So I stopped watching him after that. Yeah. I don't know, because also the Daily Show, there are writers that write for him.
Yeah,
I do enjoy the Daily Show's content. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I think that there's a limit to the amount of harm any single president can do.
Yes.
And by proxy, a limited amount of good that any single president can do. They work within the constraints they have in the executive branch. So, yeah, I mean, I think Donald Trump would not be a very good president. I don't think he's presidential material in a lot of ways. There's a certain amount of gravitas that a president should have, and understanding and appreciation of history and especially modern history and kind of how things have gotten to be the way they are. And I'm just not sure that he has either of those two things. I think he's very, he's very much full of bombast, and that's appealing to a lot of people. But I still think that, if you look at polling and, in Iowa and New Hampshire and whatnot, in national polling, I'm not sure how much I trust any of those polls just yet. National polling can only show so much, especially now when we're so early in the process. And statewide polls seem to be edging him further and further up. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a subset of people that say that, yeah, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump, and then when they actually go to vote, they're like, I don't know, Jesus, God, it's oh my God, I can't do that, and then vote for Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio or something like that.
All right, so what about the idea that he's a plant from Hillary?
I don't buy into that. I'm not big on conspiracy theories.
But I do think he's a cartoon character. I can't take him seriously.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch, but I don't know. I think he's a cartoon character.
I think cartoonists have fun with each president.
Of course they do.
George Bush was always depicted as a kind of like a cowboy. He always had the pistols and whatnot. But no.
No, I think he's his own cartoon character. Like the cartoonists don't have to do anything. They can just take a picture. And there you go.
Yeah. I mean, he can clearly say whatever he wants.
That's true.
And it's not hurting him at all.
No.
He just a couple of days ago, he said, I could walk up in the middle of the street and shoot somebody, and I'd still have all my supporters, and it wouldn't be a problem. So he,
like I said, he's a fucking cartoon character.
Yeah, he's a cartoon character.
Yes.
So, but no, I would not underestimate Donald Trump. I think he's been underestimated multiple times so far. In our current Republican primary process, and I would not underestimate him. I think that if he does win Iowa and New Hampshire, I don't know how any other candidate could stop him at that point. It'd be very difficult to push back.
But what do you think about the
But I also think, just to finish that thought real quick, I also think that there's still 11, I want to say, Republican candidates in the race.
True.
And there's a certain amount of Donald Trump is polling at 30-40%. Everyone else is the rest of that percentage in the Republican, that are being polled. So it remains to be seen once the field narrows down to, let's say, 2 or 3 people in opposition to Donald Trump. Where are all those voters going to go? Are they going to flock to Trump, or are they going to go more towards Rubio, Cruz, Bush, something along those lines? And I have a feeling that there's a certain ceiling to Donald Trump's support. Because I know there are a lot of people in the Republican Party who really do not like him at all.
I've heard stories about his past, about dirty business deals and stuff like that. So even from a business perspective, he's not very well liked.
Well, I think he's definitely. In terms of a general election standpoint, you look at his unfavorables among Democrats and independents. It's not good at all. There's a certain amount of you have to pull over people from the middle, to win a general election. You can't rely on just the party base or even the people who are, identified as Republican or Democrat. But he does not have very good favorables with independents and Democrats, which I think will make it difficult for him to win a general if he does become the nominee.
I think so as well. So what do you think about the backfire of, I guess, Hillary's campaigning against Bernie, and it seems to have hurt her in a few places more than helped her.
I think that a lot of Democrats, they don't really want Hillary, but they kind of feel like they have to because, gosh, Hillary, you've just been trying for 12 years, however many years now, to be president. So, I don't know. I think that what's funny about Bernie Sanders is that. Kind of similar to Trump when he
the 1%
when he first announced
the top 10%.
There was this kind of, I think some of the media was like, he's an independent from Vermont. And he's crazy. Like, look, he's 70 years old. He looks like he just woke up when he's on the debate stage. His hair's all
I know, I love it,
frizzed out.
It's great.
He's just this crazy old man. So I think they underestimated the the amount of support that he would have amongst young people. And
Yes.
at first, it was old people. They talked about, oh, he's definitely appealing to the older crowd. And
I'm
that's why he's
sure,
getting
I'm
people
sure,
to come.
yeah.
That's why he's getting 1,000 people to come to his rallies and 2,000 people or whatever. And then it was younger people. So I don't know. So the narrative now is about Bernie is that he's trying to gain minority supporters. Is that well, he's got the whites locked down, but
Well,
you know,
didn't he used to wasn't he a part of the whole MLK movement, and like wasn't he like attend marches and stuff like that?
I'm guessing he was. I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
think
but-
if I remember correctly, he did.
I mean,
Participate
if he
in all
was,
that
it was
back in the day.
particularly offensive for Black Lives Matter.
Well, yeah,
people
that's why I
to
thought that it was
assault him
ridiculous.
at one of his,
And he was just like, no,
rallies.
he's like one of the original supporter of civil rights. What are you doing? You're an idiot.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's anyway. Yeah, I think that some Democrats love Hillary. I mean, like I remember a long time ago when I was just getting in college, I worked at CC's, the coffee shop here, and one of my friends that I worked with was a huge Hillary supporter. I mean, like I don't meet that many people that are so obsessed with a particular politician or like as fervently just loves Hillary Clinton. And I don't really get that. I think that similar to Mitt Romney, once the charge kind of stuck with Mitt Romney that he was a flip-flopper who would say or do anything to get elected.
Yep.
If Bernie can really make that stick for
I
Hillary,
think it's done for her.
then it might be done for Hillary. But you know, she's a Clinton, and don't underestimate.
Here's
the
what I don't like
Clintons.
about the whole flip-flopping attack vector. People change their minds. I've changed my opinion on lots of things.
But it's effective. In 2004, I think the most effective ad that Bush ran against Kerry was the windsurfing ad.
That's
it
true.
showed him surfing in one direction, then his first position on the bill, and surfing the other direction, and him changing his mind a couple
I
years
agree.
later. I get it, but
it's
I'm
effective,
just,
but I think it's a
effective.
stupid idea. I think they should be able to say, well, yeah, I changed my mind. I saw some more information. I learned a little bit more about it. I changed my mind.
And it's interesting that no one's doing that with Donald Trump because Donald Trump gave lots of money to Democrats. He campaigned for Democrats. He hobnobbed with the Clintons. They attended his wedding.
Well, maybe they're holding that in reserve.
Previously on record as being pro-choice and things that he's said that he's come to a revelation about over the past year when he decided to run for president. So I think if you're going to level that charge against someone, even though Donald Trump's not really a politician, he's aiming to be one, and I think it's definitely a valid criticism. I think it's one thing if you want to change your mind on the issues and if you actually do have a change of heart, and this is a difficult thing to actually pin down. Did somebody actually change their mind, or are they just trying to?
That's true.
They're just trying to win people over to get votes. And Hillary has always struck me as somebody who would kind of say or do anything
Whatever
she
she
needed
needs
to get
yeah.
elected. I mean, there's limits. She's not going to take Republican positions all of a sudden, but within the kind of middle left area she exists in, I feel like she has no problem
towing the party line,
knowing those, navigating those waters, towing the party line, going against it, whatever she feels like serves the most beneficial political purpose to her at that time. So
makes sense.
But I do think I think that she actually probably would be a pretty good president. Actually, so
I don't have any. I look at. I guess I would draw parallels from Bill Clinton's presidency, which I liked. I thought he did a damn good job. He just happened to get a blowjob and lied about it in court. But other than that, I think he did a pretty good job.
Well, sexual infidelity aside, there were some good and bad things about the
like
Clinton
most
presidency.
presidents, there's good stuff and there's bad stuff.
Yeah. But a lot of people, regardless of the actual truth, I think a lot of people perceive the Clinton years as good years for the most part, with the exception of maybe the .com bust. I think was part of the end of that. But most people kind of perceive those as good years.
Yeah, but wasn't he like he was riding on the coattails of a lot of stuff that aided in that success?
Well, that's always a thing, is how much can you, and this kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier, like, how much credit or blame can you really give a president for what they do in office. And there's certain things you definitely can, but there are things that are more nebulous, I feel like the economy.
Yes.
Like if the economy is getting better, is getting worse, it's I don't think it's very well proven how much one single president can do to sway those things wildly in one direction or the other, So, yeah, it's difficult to say.
Well, I mean, obviously, if they could sway things wildly in one direction or another, they would sway it in one direction.
Right.
Keep
They would
it
just
blasting.
They would
Keep
it. They would
right.
keep it
Just
good all the time.
keep it going straight up. It's fine.
Right.
If that were possible.
Everything's great. People
Yeah,
are wonderful.
it's great. It's wonderful.
This presidency is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I feel it's a part Walken.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad.
It is. It's horrible. Bad. We should both be fired.
No, I rather more enjoy the New Jersey smoker older woman.
Oh, I
Sanders
love that
supporter.
so much. Is that nuts?
Oh, honey, I love Bernie.
Oh God, he can do it. It's great.
Bernie's my favorite. He
He's
talks just
great.
like me.
It's great. See, I can never do that voice, but I enjoy it so much.
Yeah,
Such a good voice.
it is. It is.
That
No, I think it's actually been fun this year. I mean, it's been hilarious. this
enjoying
year.
your job.
It's gonna if Donald Trump is president, then the Daily Show and every late night comedy show is gonna have material.
Oh, of
to
course.
go on
Of course.
for a long time.
Come on, they don't even
So,
have to do any work. At that point,
they're
it's
gonna be
just easy.
they're gonna be relieved. They're gonna
yeah.
be like, this
we don't
might-
have to do any
This
work.
might suck for the country, but God, we're gonna have some hilarious jokes for the
That's
next
very true.
8 years or 4 years. Depending on what happens.
Mhm.
But no, it's been fun. I think that to me, in the next week or two, Iowa and New Hampshire is going to tell us a lot
Right.
about who's going to be the eventual nominee. I still feel like the Republican Party will likely coalesce around a more establishment candidate. That's been the historical trend for quite a while. You
Right.
have kind of up and comer, strongly conservative, candidate that comes out.
It's
Who
true.
gets
They
a lot of
innovate.
attention for a while, and it gets the base riled up, and then they all kind of settle down. Oh, we should really run.
We should really
the Mitt
look at
Romney.
somebody, right?
We should really run the the
Yeah.
John McCain, the more moderate candidate. So I think Mitt Romney would have been a good president.
Really?
I really do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he would have been a good president. I think he had a good temperament for it. I think he made a couple of bungles. Obviously, the flip flopping charge, Obama was able to make that stick to him. And there was the 47% comment.
Oh yes, but he was honestly. I
Um,
think he was just speaking truthfully.
Yeah,
If he knows his voting, who's going to vote for him, where the votes are going to be coming from. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of. I guess it was
I
kind
think
of
it was
a rude
hard for
thing to say,
Democrats in
but-
that election to paint Mitt Romney as like this evil arch conservative,
Right.
Machiavellian villain, because he really wasn't. If you see interviews with him, he's just so
fucking
chill
dude,
and
yeah.
level headed, and
Mhm.
I actually think he'd have been a fine president. I mean, he almost was. I mean, the first debate performance that Obama had in 2012 was
That's true.
abysmal.
It was miserable.
It was awful. It was like somebody took his soul out and implanted it in someone else, and this soulless cardboard figure of Obama
Yeah,
went
it
up
was
there and said a
sad.
couple of things.
It was very sad.
And it was shocking. It was shocking. He's so well known for being a great orator, and a great speaker, and he just totally flubbed it.
I mean, I'm dumb, but I know what orator means. I think.
But no, I mean, I think that it's difficult to make any kind of actual prediction because, especially for the general election.
Well, that
it's just,
we've got
it's just
some
too
time
far
yet.
away.
Yeah,
you
we've
know?
got some time yet. There's a lot that can happen between.
Yeah, it's just too far
Now and then, right.
Someone else whose opinion I trust said a while back, they were like, if it's Trump versus Clinton, then Trump's definitely going to win. And I don't know if that's true.
No.
I disagree with that assessment a little bit. So, but
Okay.
but yeah, like I said, I would not underestimate Donald Trump.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, are there any interesting things going on in the realm of political advocacy? Any new bills?
Well, for the pro-life side of things, they just had the Texas, I want to say Attorney General. I'm probably getting that wrong, but I think Greg Abbott or Lieutenant Governor. I'm messing it up, but a high-ranking Texas executive started up a grand jury investigation into the Planned Parenthood videos right? Because
Okay.
it was earlier this
That-
year.
that's
or
true,
Last
'cause-
year, it was 2015. It was
Yeah, because
summer,
some of that was supposed to be real, and some of that was supposed to be faked, and
Yeah, and he started up this big grand jury investigation to investigate Planned Parenthood for alleged wrongdoing, for allegedly selling baby parts,
Right.
basically.
Right.
And hilariously, the grand jury came back and said Planned Parenthood didn't do anything wrong, but the people who made these videos are being indicted for tampering with governmental evidence. I don't know what governmental evidence that was,
right.
and something else I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, yeah, I know they got in some big trouble for all of their shenanigans. I just wasn't sure because the way I heard it, that some of the video footage was correct and some of what they had was right, but it had been heavily messed with to the point that.
Well, I think it had been heavily edited. I don't know if it was as heavily edited as the Acorn videos from a number of years ago.
Right.
With that guy James.
I just want to know what what was the edit? Like, what is the real material? I would like to.
I don't know. I haven't seen the videos.
Right.
I do know that some of the pro-life groups are very up in arms about it, just in general.
Right.
But
Of course they are.
because I know, once
It's
that,
conspiracy.
once that ruling came down, I think they were even more up in arms.
Of course, it's a conspiracy by the government. You know this,
Yeah.
and they're damned evil scientists.
Well, I mean, with Planned Parenthood, the vast majority of their funding doesn't do anything with abortion services.
Right,
Doesn't have
right.
anything
Most
to
of
with
what they
abortion.
do is not abortion.
Women's health, contraception,
Right.
that kind of stuff. Although I think it's a legitimate issue that some people have with taxpayer funding of anything that goes to abortion services. I don't think there's any actual taxpayer funding that goes to abortion, and I may be wrong about that,
Mhm.
but I can see it's a legitimate.
But I
complaint.
think it's a good thing. If you look at I can't remember the name of the study. I would be lying if I told you. It's out there, folks. Look for it.
Yeah.
But there's a study of that when abortions were legalized in certain states, it caused a dramatic drop in crime later on by about
Yeah, no, the
about
study
20
you're,
years.
you're talking about.
Yeah. So
Um,
abortion is, I mean, sure, it sucks. I'm not advocating. Yeah, everybody should get an abortion. It's great, but I still think it's a useful thing. If
Yeah, no, I think Bill Clinton had the best line on abortion that I ever heard, which was abortion should be safe, legal, and rare.
yes. Yes,
So,
I agree.
I agree. I think
Well, I think
there's, I don't know if there's some people who tend to use it as a form of contraception, which
think
is,
there
I don't
are.
think
I don't
it's,
think
it's
there
meant
are.
for. I don't know if there are or not, but
at least I hope not,
um,
because good God, what kind of damage are those people doing
no,
to
I mean
themselves?
it's I think if we taught something other than abstinence only sex
right.
education,
I think that's a big
then,
part of it here.
there'd be less of a need for it.
Right.
Free.
That's my pretty much my argument is that you can't say that oh well, we're going to make abortion illegal. Well, we're not going to tell anybody about safe sex because we're just going to tell them not to have it. Yes, because teenagers have never fucked ever. That just doesn't happen.
Texas has one of the highest teen pregnancy rates in the whole
Right.
country, and they have some of the most. They basically don't teach sex ed.
Right.
Pretty much.
So abstinence
I think it's
education.
fair to see a correlation there. So
Yeah.
I think that there's the argument that the government, in the sense of the public school, shouldn't be teaching kids about sex, and that parents should do it. And
Yeah.
I think it would be nice if parents did it, but not all parents will do it, or will do it to the extent that it really needs to
needs to be
So,
done. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't think it's bad at all for us to teach kids, how to put on a condom and
I don't either.
what
I think it's
AIDS
useful.
are, and not to teach kids that sex is horrifically awful and evil and
Right, it's
wrong. But
It's
just
awesome,
that,
kids.
yeah. Well, I think if you teach kids that sex is only okay within the confines of marriage,
Right.
then and that any sexual interaction or intercourse outside of marriage is immoral and evil and wrong. It's a festering poison inside
Exactly.
the kids that makes them feel like their own bodies are unnatural, or the feelings that they have are unnatural. Something's wrong with them
Right.
for wanting to do that and express
Right.
those feelings. That doesn't mean they should go out there and fuck everybody.
True.
Like they should just be going.
Well, yeah, I agree, but
a raging rampage.
I like
of-
the way they put
of,
it in.
screwing.
Yeah. I like the way they put it in most Scandinavian countries, in that they teach their kids, like, look, here's how it is. Here are the repercussions of sex. Here's what it's
Well,
for.
and that's the
and
fear.
it's fun,
I think,
and it's
is that
great.
kids are just gonna go out there and just
Yeah.
just gonna be screwing like bunnies.
But
But-
I think the reaction from kids, I think they're smarter than that. I don't think we put enough faith in them and just assume that they're idiots.
Yeah. Well, I think we overestimate how easy it is for a high school, boy or girl to get laid. To begin with.
Exactly.
But if it does happen, then use a goddamn
condom, right? But saying like it's not going to happen and we shouldn't teach them how to have safe sex, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just we'll just we'll just beat it out of them with the Bible. And teach them,
teach them how to beat it out of themselves in other ways.
Yes. Well, no, even that. You can't do that. You can't do that either. Because you'll go to hell if you touch yourself. You should know this. Every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten. It's true.
Yeah. No, I think it would be nice if parents taught their kids actual sex
definitely.
education, but not all parents are going to, and I think it's a legitimate enough public health concern that it needs to be taught in public schools.
I think so.
So that's how I feel about that.
Well, true, but also in
that's my personal feeling.
I mean, do you think that for the people that are up in arms against abortion and all that kind of good stuff, do you think that giving a woman no choice and she's pregnant, so she has to have the baby, do you think that a kid being brought into the world that is unwanted or not needed, do you think that they're going to grow up to be a productive member of society?
No, and I think that's what that controversial study was getting at. The kids that were born because the woman couldn't have an abortion felt unwanted and unneeded, and contributed to violence in society and whatnot. So,
not saying that all
no, I think
kids that grow up that way and wind up with
simultaneously.
There's a correlation.
I don't think making abortion illegal again is gonna solve much. But on the other hand, I think it's fair to teach personal responsibility.
Well, yeah, I definitely think I think it should be a more nuanced answer instead of just no abortion or yes abortion for everyone.
Well, I mean, really with abortion, it's I don't think the government has any right to mandate to people what to do to their bodies.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I just don't think they do. So I don't think that when it was illegal, it really didn't help much. Women still aborted their own children through horrific means that I don't even want to describe. They're awful and horrible. So
my buddy Jess works in the crime lab. I'm aware.
It's a real concern. It's horrific. So I'd rather there be a safe legal way for people to do that if they really want to.
Cheeseburgers are delicious.
They are. They are. But no, it's a touchy issue. But I think you have to understand why that issue riles people up so much. And it's a matter of.
I guess I don't understand why that issue riles.
Well, it's a matter of where life begins, and for someone who really believes that an abortion is the murder of a child.
I can see your point.
That's it's something that I actually, here's a good example. In Louisiana where we live, I'm from South Louisiana, and you cannot be an elected politician in South Louisiana and be pro-choice. It's just not possible. It doesn't happen. There was a Democrat representing the district, the congressional district that I'm from, but he was super pro-life, super like with a cape, super pro-life. You just can't. It's for especially where I'm from, very large Catholic area. It's a huge issue. It's the only issue. It's like, oh well, if this politician is pro-choice, then there's no way at all that I'm going to vote for him. It's not even It's not even an option.
Not even a thing.
It's not even. Yeah, that's.
If everything else they believe is right in line with what I believe, this is one thing is off.
Right.
Fuck them.
So it's a single issue thing for them. So yeah, I mean, people believe that fervently, and I think with like a lot of things, I think there's a middle ground with abortion where I think it should definitely be legal as it is. I think what a number of state legislatures have done over the past 5 to 8 years or so, somewhere around there, is not outlaw abortion, but pass a number of restrictions.
Right, that reined it in.
That have reined it in a little bit. Whether those are good and bad in all cases, I don't know. But and a number of state legislatures, they've tried to basically curtail abortion rights without actually outlawing abortion.
Right. I think the ones here are the clinic has to be within 30 miles of a
Yeah, they
hospital.
effectively shut down all but 1 or 2 abortion clinics.
I think it was
in
3
Louisiana.
actually.
Yeah.
The last time I counted, it was 3.
Yeah. So that's been the tack that Republicans have taken, that I wanted to push this issue, is that okay, well, we won't
make it illegal.
We can't
Right.
completely outlaw it, but we'll do as much as we can to rein it in. And I really don't know how helpful that is.
I don't think it is.
You know,
I don't think it's helping.
Because if a woman really wants to get abortion, I think it's an inconvenience to her to have to drive an extra like 4 hours to go and get it done. But I think if they want to do it, they will go through that.
Probably do it. Yeah.
So this is just really an area that I feel like is just not the government's business to tell people what to do with their bodies. And
I agree.
People should be able to do what they want to with their own bodies.
But it's not necessarily about the government. Sometimes it's about the people that want to tell people what to do with their bodies because they know better.
That's the authoritarian.
Of course.
That's the Donald Trumpian side.
Yes. Yes.
We're gonna build the greatest wall ever around the uterus.
It's Trump wall.
Trump wall around the uterus.
This is Trump uterus.
It's gonna have a stamp.
Hotel and casino.
Yeah. So there's that's definitely anti most of my beliefs, is the authoritarian side of telling people what to do with their own money or with their bodies. So.
Well, yeah, I think that idea is ridiculous. Everybody should be free to do whatever they want as long as you're not hurting anybody or
Well, it's definitely constraints.
Yeah, there's some there, but I mean, whatever you want to do, it's your experience. You go do.
That's what I like what Rand Paul said about socialism a while back. He said, "Socialism is great until you run out of other people's money."
I agree. Well, what do you think? Most of the things, if you ask people what they like about America, most of the things they mention are the socialist things. But if you ask them then how they feel about socialism, they're all up in arms against it. I don't think they understand what the word means.
No. I think there's been a definite trend in terms of our economic policy. I think towards the more we'll call it European social democracy,
right?
Model, where the government's taking on a little bit more responsibility for the general welfare of the public. With something like Obamacare, it's really for a lot of Democrats didn't go nearly far enough for what they wanted. And
I'd like to see
Republicans have made it their singular issue, although they've had a hard time even getting a bill passed in both chambers to repeal the thing, even though of course Obama's not going to sign it. So I don't know. I think that there's an individualist streak in America where people not necessarily don't feel like they're a part of a community. They feel like they're American, you know. But it's a very like rugged, like I got my shit over here, and I'm gonna take care of my shit.
Right.
And
you stay the fuck over there.
You stay over there and leave me the hell alone. I think that's a deep,
that's a very good way
American.
Yes, it is. Very much so.
Thought.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna come. It's gonna have to come to a point to where we as a country have to say, we're not okay with someone going bankrupt over paying for medical bills.
Right.
We're not okay with somebody dying because they couldn't get into a hospital or whatever. I'm not saying that. I don't really know how much that actually happens, but to me it's unconscionable that healthcare costs so much in this country.
Yes.
When we spend so much money on it. Right. That's the really insane thing, is that we spend a tremendous amount of money on healthcare. Just absolutely astronomical amount of money on healthcare. And it's very expensive for all the people in the country.
Yeah, I think it was I'm not sure how accurate this is. It was one of those little memes, obviously. Yeah. It was about a guy who, getting a hip replacement. He could actually fly to Spain, get his hip replaced, do the running of the bulls, live there for a year, learn Spanish, break his hip again in the next year's running of the bulls, get his hip replaced again, and then fly back home for about the same cost that you can get your hip replaced once here.
Yeah, I mean, the greatest example I know of is dental work. I have a friend. Dental work here in the United States is just absolutely insane. How much it costs. It's completely nuts. I had a friend who went to Mexico to get dental work done, and he had, I think it was a soda problem. His teeth had really, really bad teeth, so he needed a lot of work done. In the States, it was going to cost him think $16,000 somewhere around
about
there,
right.
and he got it done like the flight to Mexico, staying in Mexico for a week just to chill on the beach after
Yep.
he got the work done. The work itself, flying back, all cost like $2,000, $3,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So people will leave this country to get dental work done
Well,
because
people-
it's so cost prohibitive.
My
here.
tattoo artist, the guy that did this piece, whenever he actually goes to Mexico once a year to buy all of his inhalers.
Yeah.
For him and his mother, because they're like stupid cheap. So here it's like $50 an inhaler. He goes over there, $50 buys him a year's supply.
Yeah.
So he buys 2 years supply and brings one for him and his mother, and they have.
Yeah, it's nuts. And there's multiple issues, problems that have caused the rising healthcare costs. I know, like I have a friend that's a doctor. Medical malpractice is insanely expensive.
Yes, it
And
is.
it's not just medical malpractice. It's the idea now that they're so worried about someone suing them for doing the wrong thing that they order more tests than are necessary,
You're right.
just to make sure their ass is covered if they do decide to sue them. So there's more actually things being done
Well, do you
in
think
terms
that?
of tests and stuff,
I
just to
think
make
that's-
sure they don't get sued, and then it's more costs passed down to.
I think that's ultimately
Insurance
counterproductive, because or at least from my experience in my position, I've never worked in a medical profession, so I don't know.
Me either. Just
But from my perspective, in having something like there being consequences for you making like dire bad consequences for you making a wrong decision, it almost eliminates your ability to do anything. Like you don't want to make a decision anywhere because you sort of become paralyzed with this fear of what if I make the wrong decision, instead of your job is to make those decisions, so you kind of have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's been my experience that would be counterproductive. I guess maybe with the additional tests and everything that's what they're trying to shore up, because ultimately the decision has to be made. But God, I would not want to be a doctor. Fuck that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we shouldn't. I mean, I don't think doctors shouldn't feel like they have to run more tests
Right.
than are necessary to
Well, I agree
diagnose
with that.
someone. Just to feel like their ass is covered, just in case somebody sues.
I
them.
think that that there's reasonable malpractice suits, and I don't know about the other ones. Are doctors?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not saying there aren't
Right.
reasonable malpractice. There definitely are. Doctors fuck up.
Of course they do.
And sometimes they fuck up horrifically.
Yes.
So definitely don't think all medical malpractice is
There's a
bad.
lady who went into.
But they spend. I mean, I think that I don't think I'm incorrect in saying that most doctors' offices, or maybe doctors as individuals, if they're running their own practice or whatever,
Right.
spend somewhere around 35%.
Yeah,
on
that
medical
sounds about
malpractice
right.
insurance. It's
Yeah.
it's really a lot of damn money.
I agree.
On that.
Yeah.
But there's also, I mean, in terms of our overall medical costs, there's the pharmaceutical industry being involved with the
Oh,
government.
man.
There's,
Fuck
I mean,
them.
there's this huge litany of just crap that's
Yes.
that's going on. I remember I talked to some Canadians a while back, which was great. But
Sorry,
they commented on they'd been to the States before, but
Yeah.
we were just kind of talking about politics and stuff, and they were commenting on the fact that we have all these billboards for personal injury
Yeah,
attorneys
yeah.
and advertisements for different medications.
I
and
saw
things
one
like
on
that.
YouTube.
And they just thought they just think it's the craziest thing in the world because they just don't have
Yeah.
that in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in the UK thought it was ridiculous that we advertise prescription medication to people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, there's a commercial on it for ask your doctor if you're okay with this, or if you're okay to take this. Or ridiculous. Yeah, we advertise for. I got a better idea. There are certain doctors' offices within our health system. The nurses there and all the staff that are in that particular location don't have to buy lunch ever. No. Because they have so many.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical
Yeah,
sales
so many
rep comes in
pharmaceutical
and-
sales reps that come in. They buy lunch for the entire office every single day. Every
Yeah,
single
Congress
week.
tried more heavily regulating that a
Yes.
while back, and I don't think they were very successful at it.
I don't think they were either.
Yeah. I remember there's a video of the pharmaceutical sales rep basically saying like, well, they're not going to buy them steak dinners anymore. Like that won't be allowed, but they could bring in like a small lunch for each person.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That it comes in. Yeah. So it's ridiculous. But no, I mean I don't know how soon we're going to see the day where a European socialist democracy healthcare system.
Right. Not
comes
that
to the
I
United States.
think theirs is like perfect or shiny and there are no mistakes and everything's wonderful, but I think they've got a better idea than what we're doing.
There's pros and cons. I think
Right.
our system is structured, built to serve the needs of 20% of people.
Yes.
and most other healthcare systems around the world in industrialized first world countries are built to serve the needs of 80% of people.
Yes.
So
agree with
that's
that.
that's part of the disconnect, and there are some definite benefits to our system. If you are more affluent, you can if you don't like a certain thing that's being done in your surgery, and you heard about some new surgical technique that's being done
Yeah,
for that
you
thing,
can go
you
and
can
shop around.
fly somewhere else. You can shop around. You
Mhm.
can you can get that extra thing done exactly the way you want it with no compromises.
My buddy Lucas, he
yeah.
makes stupid money, but his daughter was born with some sort of problem with her skull.
Yeah.
Either like one of the plates was missing or something crazy. I don't know. But he had a guy, like one of the best surgeons who specializes in this particular disorder, like flown in and like paid for the guy to stay here and had some piece 3D printed for and all kinds. I mean, he spent shat loads of money, but he got like the best medical care you could possibly get
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's pros and cons to each system. I think that for the poor people of this country, the cons hurt
Yeah,
heavily.
I agree.
So there's definitely at least things we could do better there. than
I
we're
think
currently
so.
doing. But yeah, bringing it back to the presidential primary, I did think it was funny that in the last debate, that's what Hillary and Bernie were fighting about. Another big thing they were fighting about. Aside from
I didn't catch
Wall Street.
I didn't catch the most recent one. I caught the prior one.
Yeah, Hillary accused Bernie of wanting to rip up Obamacare, and Bernie gave her the most hilarious, like, Brooklyn.
I love his
"Fuck you,
shutdowns.
bitch. Like, look. I mean, really, just like just this intense look of like I would set you on fire with my eyes if I could.
Scanners.
When
man.
she said that, yeah. They had a big back and forth over it in the last debate. So, anyway.
Yeah. So I do like Bernie's shutdowns, where they'll ask him something silly and he's just like, "What? Fuck it." I just like his I don't know how to I can't channel Bernie that well.
No, it's the Hillary had one in the first debate. I think either Lincoln Chafee or one of the candidates that aren't there anymore
Right.
said something, and the moderator asked Hillary, they're like, "Well, would you want to comment on that?" She said, "No." Like, I don't have time for Lincoln Chafee's bullshit. I'm trying to run for president here.
Yeah.
We're actually having serious talk.
Well, wasn't there in the first one? Wasn't one guy who was like, "Am I going to get a chance to speak here? Am I going to get a chance to
That was
speak?"
Jim Webb.
Yeah, that was great.
It's really, actually, I've heard Jim Webb speak before. He's really
I've heard
I think
he's
he's
not
a pretty
a
cool
bad
guy.
guy.
I think he got a lot of flack in that debate because, in a room full of Democrats, he's talking about the guy he killed in Vietnam.
Yeah,
and
that was a
shit.
little.
So for a room full of Democrats, that wasn't exactly what they wanted to
Right.
hear in the presidential primary debate. But no, Jim Webb's more of a kind of a blue dog Democrat. More of a right leaning Democrat in a lot of
Right.
ways. But no, he's pretty smart. Heard him speak a couple of times.
All right, so I've got one off the deep end question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think there's some big conspiracy ruling the government?
No,
of course
no, what? No,
I don't either.
no. Okay, if anybody thinks that you're patently wrong.
Right.
Things like remember Loose Change was the document about how supposedly the Bush administration orchestrated 9/11
Yes.
and made that happen.
So I recently got a huge wave of followers. Oh, I say huge. 3 is a huge wave of followers, really. So I got 3 people that recently followed me on Twitter. And oh my God, the shit these people are into, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's all Illuminati, flat Earth, and we never went to the moon kind of crazy shit. Oh, it's ridiculous to think that there's some sort of shadow government that's running us. I don't think.
I think that
buy into it.
people don't want to accept the reality.
Right.
Maybe it's too scary or it's too mundane to people to accept the reality
Maybe.
of how our government works. Normally, but I think if you meet people that work in government that are even politicians or whatnot, you'd be shocked to learn how normal, run of the mill fucking people most of them are. There's definitely there's psychopaths,
Of course.
and there's sane people, and there's chill, cool people. They kind of run the gamut. But no, I think that's like the 9/11 Loose Change.
Yeah,
thing. It's
those
just
people are nuts.
it's
There was a blacksmith who
it's
did a video.
bonkers.
He was talking about, you know, the whole.
I saw
jet
that.
fuel.
I know what you're talking about.
I love that
saw
video. It was so
Yeah,
good.
That was great.
It was
That
so
was
good.
great. Yes.
He's
no, I
like,
saw
yes,
that.
you're right. It can't melt steel beams, but this is a noodle.
Yeah. Or the idea that, I mean, just the whole idea that if the Bush administration had orchestrated 9/11,
Right.
that takes more than 3 people.
Exactly.
There would be multiple hundreds of people that.
And the
would-
more
would
people
known
that you
about
have
that.
in on conspiracy, the harder it is to hide. Almost everything comes out eventually. Like,
Yeah, and
you
like
can't have that
the
many
one or
people
two
involved.
guys that made that documentary would have been able to find,
Right.
you know, people actually in the government to
course.
fess up to it or whatever.
course.
It's a secret like
I
that
think-
wouldn't be able to stay a secret.
I
for-
think
for
people
very
have too
long.
much
It's the
faith.
government.
Yeah.
The government is famous for not being able to effectively
do anything.
things,
Yeah.
you know?
I was about
I
to
mean,
say,
it's
I think
just-
people have too much faith in what the government's capable of. They're just not. They're clunky. They don't function streamlined and easily. There's no secret plans. They operate in silos and they don't often mesh with each other
Well,
very well.
it fits into a worldview, you know.
Yes.
If somebody really thinks that there's some kind of a shadow government, you know,
Well, of course,
type
the
thing,
Illuminati
ruling-
are coming
ruling,
after us right
ruling
now.
the country, you know, it fits into a particular worldview. But yeah, it's nuts. So that's sorry.
It's fun. I think it's. I agree with you that it's nuts. But
I think we have actual problems in our political system that we should talk about solving.
Oh, come on, man. What's the Bilderberg group? Yeah, it's like the bankers that are secretly running the world.
Oh, I haven't heard of it.
Or maybe that was the cult of that I don't remember. I can't remember who the Bilderberg group was. I'm pretty sure there's something to do with the bankers that are ruling the world, and they have some sort of secret society that had these 2 reporters that broke into like one of their rituals, and
Yeah.
it was like a bunch of famous people there, but they're all in like these cloaks and these weird masks. It's a really, really cool story. But I don't buy into the whole Illuminati conspiracy theory thing. But I was worried that I'm starting to see people like that on my show up on my channel. I'm just like, I kind of want to have them on to have a conversation with them just to see what's there. What can I get out of that?
Yeah, it's not, you know, just like, you know, you can't see the truth, man. It's use fucking common sense about the way the
Right.
world works and people operate, and you'll usually come to pretty realistic and sane conclusions about
Right.
people.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just want to have them on, but I'm almost terrified that it's going to be, you know, the pigeon playing chess. It's still going to, you know, strut around the board, knock all the pieces over, take a shit, and proclaim itself the winner. It doesn't matter.
It would at least make for an entertaining show.
It
you know?
probably would.
Yeah.
So that's my idea. Well, there's another guy, I like the guy, he's a very conservative guy. I'm going to have him on my show. And we're going to discuss global warming because he doesn't buy into it at all.
Oh, that's fun.
And
That
so I was
sounds
like, yeah,
a fun
I
time.
think I'm for that one. I want to do actually want to get I want to be in the studio and have my production setup done so that I can actually put stuff up on the screen and we can go over some of the stuff. I think that'll be an interesting show. So that's coming up. The next episode after this one though is going to be my buddy Jess's second part of his episode. And he's the guy that worked at the crime lab. And then, from there, we'll probably do the global warming thing. That'll be fun.
That sounds like fun. That sounds like fun.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Um,
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming and hanging out.
yeah, it was a lot of
I
fun.
appreciate your time.
It was a lot of fun.
We need to do it again. Miss hanging out, man.
I hope it was somewhat entertaining.
Maybe
somewhat.
3 or 4 people want. No, I'm kidding. I've got a little bit bigger audience than that.
I should have brought the New Jersey lady out more.
You should. You
I should have.
You should have. It's all right. It's no big deal. I'm not all that entertaining, but if you like me, support us on Patreon. Follow me on Twitter. Take it easy, guys. Ride safe.
Peace.